Today we're going to talk about what I am going to read next, and this is a list of books that you hopefully should see me talk about more in the near future. No promises. We'll just say that. I've been known to, well, I don't know if anybody's noticed this, but I'll admit I will say I'm going to read something and I just push it off. So first thing we have is Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman, and I don't know why. I went to a bookstore and I've never gone to this bookstore before. And I was looking around. I didn't really see much. And then I saw this version of Leaves of Grass. And I'm like, you know what? I have a full collection of Walt Whitman's poems, but I like how this one looks. Let me pick this up. And I've been really, really enjoying it so far. Whitman's, I don't really know how to describe his style. It's free verse. There's no rhyming or anything. There's no really structure or anything in it. It's interesting to say the least. It reminds me of William Blake, like Jerusalem. I think that's a good kind of comparison. William Blake Jerusalem is there's no structure to it, and he's just saying random stuff, and some of it you get, some of it you don't get. I think Leaves of Grass is similar in that it's sort of the collective. It's sort of describing the collective nature of humanity, of society, and how each individual thing is in fact its own leaf of grass. And there's a part that I found interesting, and it was something along the lines of the leaves of grass are as important as the stars, and it's kind of taking the scale from the smallest to the largest. And there's a whole lot of quotes in this book. There's a whole lot of things that you'll think about and you're like, this is some of the greatest stuff I've ever read. And then there's other parts that are just very mundane. I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I think there's definitely its merits to it, but yeah, very interesting piece, very all over the place, and it's very intentional for that reason. But it's just I'm having fun going through this. I'm having fun reading this, and you really get a sense of what Whitman was getting at. And it's funny because originally when this was being published, Walt Whitman sent this to Emerson, and Emerson said some like very, very complimentary stuff. And then Whitman put that in the beginning of the book to kind of sell it, and like Emerson like denounced him and never talked about him again. So very funny connection. But Whitman said he basically read Ralph Waldo Emerson's essay Poet. I think that's what it's called. And he was basically inspired by that poet essay to become the poet of the next generation of America that Emerson was talking about. And just for good measure, I'm going to read one of the most famous quotes that Walt Whitman has. Actually, I'll say a few, but do I contradict myself? Very well then, I contradict myself. I am large, I contain multitudes. And this is, I think, essential to humanity. I think this is essential to being an individual, that you're able to contradict yourself. You're able to be wrong. You're able to change your opinion. You're able to change your perspective. You don't have to be consistent. Like, I feel like there's this very dumb idea today of, if you're not with me, then you're against me. I know the Bible said it, but we're not talking about biblical heights of integrity. We're talking about, do you support what everyone else is doing? No, I don't. I may support you 80 or 90% of the way, but that doesn't mean that I support absolutely everything you're doing, and I should be allowed to denounce somebody who I otherwise agree with if they do something I don't like. And I feel like we exist in this world that's very binary, and it's very this or that, and I think really what Walt Whitman is encapsulating is the importance of being contradictory. That there's something inherently contradictory about humanity, is that we're living, but we know that we're dying. We're mortals, but we're trying to grasp immortality with our actions. And there's something very profound in that. You could just read into this with so many different layers. And I think perhaps the most famous Walt Whitman quote is, what is it? Resist much, obey little. And I think that's another great sort of sentiment to live your life by. And what it means, resist much, is it just don't go along with things. Don't consent to things. Don't allow things to happen that you're not necessarily okay with, you know. Don't go along with things that are against your morality. Don't sacrifice your morals for the sake of a material gain. And, you know, it's the same thing with obey little. It's just I'm not going to go along with what you say. I'm going to follow my own path. I'm going to follow my own destiny. It doesn't have to be something of like starting a revolution. It's just your little everyday actions that you take. Like, are you a conformist? Do you do what everyone else does? Well, if you do that, then maybe that is what you really want. But for most people, it's not. for most people, they lose a part of themselves every moment they go along with what everybody else is doing. And I think there's something so important to your soul, something so important to your true identity of just, you know, doing your own thing, finding your own path, and being your own person. And, you know, I think Walt Whitman embodies this ideal perfectly. I knew I was going to love Walt Whitman, but yeah, having a whole lot of fun reading that. And yeah, on to the next thing. This is a book I don't want to read, but I do at the same time. And I'll explain what I mean by this, but this is Silent Spring by Rachel Carson. The reason I don't want to read this book is because it's going to piss me off, because it's going to confirm a lot of the things I already had a hunch about. And I know I'm going to get through this, and I'm just not going to be able to shut up about it for a set amount of time. And I know I'm just going to be really annoying to anyone I talk to about this subject. So Silent Spring is essentially like Rachel Carson trying to warn against the use of pesticides, warn that the environment is being destroyed, and it's being destroyed in the name of progress or economics or all sorts of stuff like this. And it really is a haunting book, because a lot of the stuff she said was going to happen did come to happen. You know, she starts off the book with like this almost like apocryphal prediction of, you know, a lake that's just, there's nothing living in it, there's no bugs, there's no birds, there's no nothing. This is something that like I only noticed when I was scrolling somewhere. I don't remember exactly where I was scrolling. I know I shouldn't scroll. I know it's bad for me. But what was that? What was it? I'm trying to explain exactly what the person said, but it was something along the lines of like, we live in Silent Spring because there used to be bugs all over your windshield, but now there's no bugs. And the moment somebody said that, I just remember when I was young and I'd be in my mom's car and I would see bugs all over and always hitting the windshield, and she'd always have to turn on the wiper fluid and you know, wipe off where the bugs were landing. But now a bug flew into my car the other day, and that was like the first time I can remember in a very long time. And it's like, that's something I would observe. That's something I would notice. I notice a lot of small things all throughout my day, and I would notice it if it was something that happened a lot. And it's so weird to think. Rachel Carson died soon after writing this book. I can't remember if she was alive when she published it. I can't remember if this became popular when, like, right after she died, or I don't know the whole story about it, but I know she died of cancer, and this book came out, and it's kind of been like an essential read when it comes to conservationism and the importance of, you know, actually taking care of the environment and actually like taking care of things. And, you know, even this even goes into like deeper questions and deeper ideas about what conservation is. And to many people, it's just carbon emissions, but like, it's not about the food. It's not about the kind of stuff that's put in the environment. It's all about the levels of carbon emissions. And I think it really dumbs down the entire subject, and really the importance of actually preserving what has, you know, been created for us, what we've been born into, and leaving the world better than when we left it. And I think there's just so many things that just are overlooked. And the good part about this book is that DDT is no longer used, and that a lot of DDT has kind of just been phased out of existence. But yeah, on to the next thing. The next thing I'm going to talk about is Per Landra, which is the second book of the Space Trilogy. The first book of the Space Trilogy I was very much inspired by. Obviously, you guys know who C.S. Lewis is, but most people haven't read the Space Trilogy. I don't know why. I think it's his finest writing, and yeah, I'm excited to go through this book. Recently, I was watching a video that was basically saying that C.S. Lewis is the character of Dr. Ransom is actually a insert of Tolkien, and I'm not going to spoil it. I know kind of what happens, so I don't want to talk too much about the ending of it, but yeah, I'm excited to continue to go through this. The first book was almost more about linguistics than it was about space exploration and fighting aliens and fighting monsters, and it was a really nice change of pace for something sci-fi. So yeah, I'm excited to go through it. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to spoil it, but on to the next thing, which is The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. I've been reading Khalil Gibran poems, and I've been making videos about them. Videos don't do well, but I really enjoy doing that, and I really love talking about Khalil Gibran. And you know, we go through a book, or not a book every week, but we've been going through books as part of the members only book club, and shameless plug for that. But the next thing that we're going to go through is The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, and I'm excited to reread this. I'm excited to reread Gibran's most famous work. I often cite this work as, using one of my favorite quotes of all time, which is, "Every sorrow deepens your joy," basically speaking to the necessity for you to experience pain, for you to be able to juxtapose that with the good times. And I love Gibran. I think Gibran is one of the finest writers I've ever read, and the more I read of him, the more I kind of appreciate him, and the more I sit with these ideas, the more I find them to be sort of essential to life as a whole. And yeah, The Prophet's one of those books that you can read it, you can reread it, and I'm excited to just go back through and find all sorts of new gems that I didn't find the first time. And I've recommended this book to so many people, but I don't remember it in the detail I wish I did, and that's really what I'm excited to do. And I'll make a video at some point about the things I've learned from books while rereading them, the details I've noticed, the deeper layers. That's actually a really good video idea. You might see that in the next few days. But yeah, but that's it. We'll get into the last thing. This is just going to be quick because I don't know too much about this book. But this is Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. I don't know really that much about this book. I know it's a war book. From the back, I just know it's a story about fighter pilots who it's basically a mission that you're not going to make it back from. But if you can get a medical exemption because you're not going to make it back, then it proves that you're not crazy. So it's kind of, you're damned if you do or you're damned if you don't. And I've heard a lot of people say this is their favorite book. Somebody I've been talking to recently, has read just as much as me. It's really weird to talk to somebody that knows more about your niche subject than you do. It's a very refreshing experience because you can learn something from somebody else. I'm not saying that you can't learn stuff from other people, but it's just in the sense of things I just haven't explored yet, and it's cool to not have to delve into these niche topics and niche subjects and find it out for yourself. But yeah, I'm just interested to read this. It shouldn't take me too long. I mean, I'm pretty quick at reading stories. This doesn't seem to be something that is going to be too intensive. But yeah, these are the books that I'm hopefully going to read soon. Hopefully I try to make these substantive. I talked about the last few books, not as much detail because I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to talk about these things. But yeah, stay tuned for me talking about these books in the very near future. And if you're interested in a book club, if you're interested in delving into deeper detail about these books, and even some members only streams that are up that you can go rewatch, and you can go read it before you watch it, and get the depth of it, and get the interaction with me with that. Go ahead, become a member, and take part in that. If not, I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. Peace out. I'll catch you in the next one.